Okay, right, hello, yes, I'll make a video, it's fine, I'll make a video, I'm back, I'm gonna start making new videos again. I would go into it more, but I did like 2 update videos, and it's too many update videos for a channel that gets like 100 views a video, so we're just gonna dive right in to the topic of this week's video. Hello, how are you? I've missed you all, it's nice to be back, hi. Nintendo did one of those bloody direct... Oh, fuck. Nintendo did one of my glasses are filthy. Nintendo did a direct this week for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and you might be wondering what my opinions on the game are, and I'm here to tell you what I think of the direct. It was a good direct, it was 15 minutes long. Let's see if I can make a video that's sub 30 minutes. Mario Wonder. What do I think about Mario Wonder? I think it looks very, very exciting and cool. When they first announced it at the Direct a few months ago, I was mainly pleasantly surprised and relieved that they weren't making some kind of Mario movie tie-in, but I do think, to Nintendo's credit, they would never do a licensed game, even if it is based on one of their internal licenses. It's a very interesting game to release so far on in the Switch's life cycle. This is a console that's been around for 6 years now. It's coming up to its 7th year on the market. This is a console that has grown very long in the tooth. From a hardware perspective, it is definitely falling behind now, but doesn't really matter because Nintendo are squeezing every single last drop out of that console. I'm sure if you've played Tears of the Kingdom this year, that is a system that still has a lot of life left in it, and Nintendo seemingly aren't really gearing up for a new generation when they're releasing things like Tears of the Kingdom and also Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which, although it is a 2D side-scrolling Mario, which is definitely the B-tier experience compared to the big 3D Mario offerings, it still looks like something really special indeed. Saying that though, I'm not entirely sure who is making this. I find trying to identify which internal Nintendo team are working on a project to be very confusing and difficult. I do think this is a different team to those who make the 3D Mario titles. I do not think this is the Odyssey team working on Wonder. I assume it is the new Super Mario Bros. Team. But I'm only saying that because it's a 2D Mario. I literally have no idea whether that's true or not. So yeah, at its first unveiling, I thought this looked really good. Felt very positive about it, to be honest. I thought it was a very strong initial reveal a few months ago. I would be lying if I said there wasn't like a slight amount of disappointment that it wasn't a follow-up to Odyssey, but I only say that because I loved Odyssey so much. I still think Super Mario Odyssey is my favorite game of all time. And part of me always just is sort of hoping Nintendo will just make a straight sequel to that game. When they announced Tears of the Kingdom and when we start to see more gameplay of that game, you know, it's so obvious that that game is built upon the foundations of Breath of the Wild. I sort of thought to myself, I wonder if Nintendo will take that approach with more of its games. If they can take Breath of the Wild, a game that they took a long time to make, and they are going to expand on it in a sequel where they add a lot of cool stuff, but it's still fundamentally, that's still Breath of the Wild. Can't they do that with Odyssey? Can't they just use the foundations of Odyssey, the movement mechanics, and just build out a load more worlds for that game? You know, you can add in a couple of cool new power-ups or expand Cappy's abilities maybe, but just give us like another 8 or 9 worlds to explore and another 900 moons to find. That would be good. That would be an easy 10 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned. You did it with Galaxy, right? You got Galaxy and then you got Galaxy 2, which is arguably better. Can't they do that with Odyssey? I think now that we're 6 years on from the release of Odyssey, it's quite clear Nintendo are not doing that. The team are squirreling away on whatever the next generation of Mario looks like, and I'm excited for that. I'm sure it'll be absolutely superb, or it'll be Sunshine. Again, hopefully not. But yeah, more Mario is always a good thing, so I'm very, very excited that Super Mario Wonder, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, forgot the name of it there, is a thing. Very exciting. Can't wait for this game. I thought this presentation was good. I like that Nintendo are releasing these smaller, more focused directs for games that are about to come out. You know, it was only like 15 minutes long. It didn't show off too much. I still don't really feel like I understand the entire shape of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I can guess, but there's enough unknown about this game that I feel like diving in, I'm going to really discover everything it has to offer on the day rather than, you know, 3-4 weeks before it comes out. But it's good. I appreciate it. I think it's a very good way of getting people excited and also showing off the core things that really set it apart. Also, I just want to give a big shout out to the guy who does the voiceovers for these Nintendo Direct presentations, because he's so good at it. Like, he's so good at that voiceover. There were some really funny inflections in this, like, that have really squirreled their way into my brain, and I think I'm gonna walk around the house saying them out loud for the next few days. He said something like, draw in nearby moolah.
Draw in nearby moolah with the coin magnet badge.
And it's just, it's in there like a little worm, and every time it wiggles, it's like, that's nice. Draw in nearby moolah. So I've identified like 5 things from this presentation that I thought were super cool, and I'm gonna bloody talk about them because you can't stop me, can you? You can't stop me. You can't report this video to youtube.com and be like, I didn't want him to do this, but he did it anyway. You can't. I'm gonna talk about it. Please like and subscribe. Number 1, I thought the animation was super fucking nice. This is such an expressive game, an unusually expressive game, even by Mario's standards, and Mario games usually look very, very nice, but the animation work in particular is a huge step up compared to, I think even compared to Odyssey, honestly. I love the character designs. I think they look absolutely fantastic. There are so many subtle tweaks to Mario's design in particular that really makes it stand out and feel like a modern refresh of that character. Little things like his eyebrows were in front of his hat, which was really interesting. The way that his smile is on this side of his face, just the way he moves through the levels is so interesting and breathes life into this character that sort of not been lacking personality, but I don't know, it just sort of feels like Mario is more of like a little guy now. Does that make any sense? It makes sense to me. I just think he should be voiced by Chris Pratt more often. Like the way Mario kicks when he goes into a jump, it's such a small thing, but it really gives this sense of upward momentum every time he leaps into the air. I love the way he grabbed his hat to float. Even when he got KO'd, it had so much vibrancy and humor behind it. It was really, really nice. And every movement in the game, every action, whether it's by Mario or it's by some of the enemies, like the little rollerblading Koopas that I'm absolutely obsessed with, has a bespoke, rubbery animation attached to it, and I really think it helps sell the fluidity of this game, which is what you need in a platformer. It's something that 2D Mario games have been lacking. I found the new Super Mario games to be so sterile compared to things like Rayman Legends, for instance, or even this year's Pizza Tower, which a lot of the joy of playing those games is in the expressive fluid animation work. And now finally Nintendo have applied that to the greatest platformer ever. So yeah, very, very smart move there. It helps as well that the new power-ups are so cartoonish in nature. Big old elephant Mario, bubble Mario, drill Mario. These are power-ups that have very distinct movements to them, and you can really sell the weight or the speed or the ferocity of them through animation. So the pairing there makes a lot of sense to me. I love like elephant Mario on Yoshi's back, for instance, and Yoshi is just like having none of it. That adds a lot more character than I actually would expect from a Nintendo game. I think these characters are so set in stone that we almost sort of know who they are, and I think it says a lot that by just adding an additional bit of animation work to them completely changes how they appear and how they feel on the screen. Speaking of characters, this is point 2. You can play it as multiple characters. You can play it as Mario, Luigi, Daisy. It's nice to see Daisy represented here, Peach, the Toads, and all of these core characters play the same, which I think is really, really good. One of my biggest issues with something like, for instance, Super Mario 3D World, is that I never really wanted to play as any of the other characters because they all had unique twists on the movement mechanics, right? So Peach was a little bit floatier, and Luigi could jump slightly higher, and Toad was a freak. But I never really wanted to play as like Peach, because the whole point of playing Mario is that I want snappy movement, and like you're taking that away from me by giving me a floaty character or one that jumps slightly weirdly or runs slightly faster. Like I'm gonna play as the one that is the most precise and like solid to control, and that's always Mario, which is the most basic, boring option. But now I can play as Peach and know that I'm gonna get exactly the same mechanical like move set. And that's good. I think that's just a net positive. You can also play as Yoshi and Nabbit, who are returning characters from New Super Mario Bros., but these characters are slightly different. You can't die as Yoshi or Nabbit. You can fall down a hole and lose a life, but if you get hit by like a Goomba, it's not really going to do anything. You just, I don't know, black out for a second and then you can carry on your merry way. I do think this is an elegant solution to a problem Nintendo have been having since the Wii era, where they're trying to provide accessibility options to younger players or less experienced players, and normally this comes in the form of like items that just spawn if you're struggling. It's sort of like always used to shove these options in your face quite aggressively, like, oh, you've died twice, you need the special Tanuki tail. This Tanuki tail makes you invulnerable. Do you want to be invulnerable? Be invulnerable. It's right there. You're by yourself and it's 2 a.m. You're eating Doritos and drinking ciders. Like, you're going to do it. No one can see you. You can do it. You can live in your shame, because if the option's there, you're going to take it, right? So I like that it's now set behind an entirely separate character set. And also you can play with people. And one of you can be like Mario and one of you can be Yoshi, and Mario can die but Yoshi can't. I just think it's a really, really good way of baking in those accessibility options that aren't too in your face if you want to play the game quote unquote traditionally. I like the flowers. I like that they talk to you. I've seen a few people online be a bit like, I don't really like that, but no, again, it just adds like more life to this game that I'm not really used to with a 2D Mario game. Also, they make me laugh because I guess my sense of humor is that basic. I don't care for the bug prince. I don't care for the tiny little caterpillar monarch. His smug aura mocks me. Do I like that he pokes out from behind Mario's hat at certain points? Yes. I do. I'm not that devoid of joy. I like the way he pops his little head out. I find it endearing. But there's something about him I do not care for. Would I squish him under my boot? I think I would. I think I'd kill it. I think if that's an option, I won't say no. 3. It's very imaginative. It's a bit of a boring point. 2D Mario used to be way weirder. Like, the 3D games are weird. They're so open to experimentation. Mario Odyssey had like New Donk City, which, like, before Mario Odyssey came out, I remember seeing footage of New Donk City and thinking, fucking hell, they've gone down the road of Sonic. There's no saving Mario now. This is bad. This is terrible. Sell my Switch. But it worked, because of course it worked. It's Nintendo. Like, you know, they can just put a big Dark Souls dragon in the middle of Odyssey and like, do you care? You don't care. It looks great. And I love that. It's part of the joy of the game is how they're just being weird and experimenting, and they throw in all these different ideas and they work. New Super Mario Bros. Has not done that for a long time. Those games developed this new formula, which was like this cleaner version of the original Super Mario Brothers, and then they just stuck with it like forever. And this is the complete opposite of that. It's colourful, it's strange, it's expressive, it's imaginative. It's sort of everything you'd want from a Mario game finally in this 2D space. Each level looks to introduce something new, something weird, something fun. It's that classic Mario design philosophy, right? Each level introduces something new, something cool, something inventive. You play around with it, you master it, and then it throws it to the wayside. And the next level, there's something else there. This is a formula that works, and when you pair that with these beautiful backgrounds, with these expressive character models, with these interesting little flower dudes, it just makes for something that seems way more exciting than anything Nintendo has done in this specific space in a long, long time. I think Bowser's castle. It's just a castle. You have Flower, and now he's a castle. He's building. Bowser's building, and the Flower Kingdom. Oh, that's new. That's cool. It's new. I like that. Like, yes, absolutely. That's new. More new than the new and new Super Mario Brothers, and they didn't even have to put new in the name. New. Number 4. Mario's Call of Duty now. It has a perk system. Operation Bravo. Switching sides. You get badges that you can equip, and they give you little additional powers, like permanent power-ups, additions to the moveset, which is really interesting. You can only equip one at a time, but the ones that you can equip are things like the parachute hat, which lets you float slowly down. You can wall climb, like a wall climb jump, which seems very powerful and integral, but cool that it's there. A Dolphin Kick, which lets you swim faster. One that saves you from dying entirely, so you don't burn in lava. And a grappling hook, which, like, you adding a grappling hook to Mario? 10 out of 10. Instant 10 out of 10. And you can equip these and swap them out mid-level. So if you die halfway through a level and you're like, oh, well, before I respawn, actually, maybe the grappling hook would have helped me with that slight jumping puzzle, you can just do that. It speaks to a level of mechanical sophistication that's never really been seen in a 2D Mario game before. It seemingly lets you experiment with movement in a way that implies the game may feature like difficult gauntlets or hidden collectibles that can only be obtained by certain badges, which I think is really quite exciting. I can imagine that once you finish the main campaign, there'll be so much for you to find within each of those levels, it's cool. That's what I love about these games, what I loved about 3D World. Finally, number 5, something I didn't think I'd be talking about, but the online system in this game looks really, really cool. So you've got 4-player local co-op, right? You can play with your pals, your little cousin comes over and wants to play something on your Switch, like, yeah, you can play with them, it's fine, it's whatever. My sort of issue with like Mario as a multiplayer game is I've really loved the chaotic nature of Super Mario 3D World's local multiplayer and that it was massively chaotically fun, but I hated, like absolutely despised the stilted limitations of New Super Mario Bros. Multiplayer mode. I'd rather like, well, not anything extreme, I'd rather like wash up than play New Super Mario Bros. Multiplayer. But yeah, I did not like the multiplayer in that. So obviously seeing multiplayer in this game, I'm a little bit like, like which side is it going to fall into? But it does look like it's going to be more so on the side of 3D Worlds, chaotic multiplayer modes, which is good. I like that. Looks like you walk in front of other players. You don't bounce off each other, which was one of the main issues with New Super Mario Bros. From what I remember, citation needed. I think 2 players is the maximum as well. I just think if you're playing 4-player Mario, you're a deviant and you should be thrown in jail. But the online stuff is really, really interesting. So this doesn't have traditional online co-op. It sort of has this weird Dark Souls Death Stranding mode, which I love. So as you're running through a level, you'll see the ghosts of other people playing the same level in real time. So you sort of are playing with other people at the same time. But they're ghosts and they can't interact with you in any way, so they can't get in your way, they can't push you out the way, they can't get blocks, they can't kill enemies. Your instance of the world is different to theirs, even though you can see them. They can save you if you die, which is interesting. And also you can plonk down like cardboard cutouts that can save other people as well. So if there's like a really difficult platforming gauntlet, you can pop down little Elephant Mario placard, not a placard, what's the word I'm looking for? Standee, cardboard cutout, whatever. It's been a long day. And then that can save people. So it almost functions a little bit, like, not really, but sort of, like the systems in Death Stranding where you can build like zip lines so you can deliver parcels to Jeff Keighley faster. And that's really nice. I'm not entirely convinced about all the ghosts running around. I can't imagine like if I'm playing a level and there's 1,000 random people running through the back of the level, that might be quite distracting. But then the presentation like really clearly displayed that you can turn that off at any time. Like you do not need to be connected to the internet if you don't want to. And also you can party up with friends and then they're the only people who are in your world, sort of, not world, like specific ghosts, ghost invites, like a ghost party, invite only ghost party. It's not my best one. So it's good. I like it. It feels like a fun new solution to how you do 2D Mario games online. And like, fair play. Like every other part of this game, it really feels like Nintendo looked at New Super Mario Bros. They looked at all of the fucking versions of that game they made and they were like, you know what? This needs a refresh. We need to do something with this to make it more interesting. And in fact, there were a lot of interviews that came out with other publications today where the development team were literally just saying that. They were like, yeah, we can't surprise people anymore, so we need to really try. And like, they've really fucking tried. You seen that? Mario's an elephant now. Like, so yeah, those are my, I sound like Kermit there. So yeah, those are my like loose thoughts about Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I keep forgetting the name of it. So yeah, those are my loose thoughts about Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I think it looks really, really cool. It's out in October, can't come soon enough. That's going to look absolutely gorgeous on the OLED. It's really nice to see that even though a Switch 2 is seemingly on the horizon, hopefully we'll see that at some point, if it's even a thing, Nintendo are still putting a lot of effort and a lot of creative energy into making games for this platform, even though whatever's next could be something completely different. We don't know. I hope it isn't, but we'll see. So yeah, what do you think about Super Mario Brothers Wonder? Why don't you get into those comments? Duck in, get yourself all snug and cozy, and then let me know what you think about this. And I'll come down and I'll say, get out of my comment section. Don't you have things to do? It's a weekend, for Christ's sakes. So yes, as I sort of alluded to at the start, I am back. I have left games media and I am now going to be covering games exclusively here again, so that's quite exciting. I'm going to be just uploading videos whenever I want about all sorts of things, reviews, all of the stuff I used to do a few years ago. It's all back, baby. So thank you for sticking around. If you're new here, hello, welcome to 7 out of 10, my daft little corner of the internet where I talk about things that I like. You are very welcome here. Hello, my name's Liam. I don't think I mentioned that. All right, I still can't end videos. Bye.